Hello, my name is Tony Brooks and I'd like to welcome you to this short video where we're going to go through intelligent automation and peek under the hood at intelligent automation with specific reference to Microsoft's Power Automate. I am CEO of Futureability and a consultant there. I'm also a trainer and I help people understand more about Power Automate. We run a workshop called RPA in a Day. I've got about 20 years experience in enterprise transformational projects, data migration, automation projects, all that kind of stuff. And we are a Power Automate partner, Power Platform certified, and we help clients implement solutions around the Power Platform, which has a lot of focus on Power Automate. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn. This is a post that I made about a net documents cat detector that I made using Power Automate. If you have any questions, I do post on LinkedIn 3 times a week. Any questions, you can reach out to me there, and I'll give you my details at the end of this video, and you can reach out to me for a call. We run these events live, and one of the things that we ask when people register is what's the one thing you want to see from the webinar? What's the one thing that you want to see from this event? And these are some of the answers that we get. And I will endeavour to cover these things as we go through the rest of this video, this 25, 30 minutes that we have together. If you are a techie who just wants to know a bit more about Power Automate, this is the place for you. If you are a manager or an executive just to find out what intelligent automation is and what it can do and how it might affect your workload and your business, this is the place for you. You might be a seasoned RPA developer with one of the other products like UiPath or Automation Anywhere or Blue Prism, and you want to just see what's happening in the Microsoft space. This also is the place for you. The overarching sense, the overarching emotion that I want you to have at the end of this short time we have together is, oh, I didn't know it could do that. And if I achieve that over the next 20-25 minutes, then I've done my job. So without further ado, we're going to get into the Power Platform presentation. The fact that you are watching this presentation in the first place means that you know that automation matters. And really, to sum it up, we are demanded on a regular basis to do more with less. And automation helps us achieve that, to do more with less. Humans excel at creative and strategic thinking, but we spend much of our time doing repetitive, manual, and boring tasks. What if that was different? Well, a Mckinsey study, this was in 2018, analysed jobs and found that 60% of all occupations have at least 30% technically automatable activities. Think about that. That's 2/3 of all occupations have about 1/3 of technically automatable activities within them, have at least 1/3. You know, we hear about the robots coming for our jobs and we think that actually, you know what, robots can't take my job. True, only between 2 and 5% of an entire job, of jobs in their entirety can be automated. But many jobs have this, have at least 30% that can be automated. And to the final point there, 64% of collecting and processing data are the activities with the highest automation potential, which is absolutely correct. And I guess the thing from automation is the key benefit for automation is time. There are studies out there that show the error rate reduction, or they show dollar returns, but the key value proposition from automation is the ability to have more time. And what could you do with that time? What impact could you have on your customers and your clients, on your employees, on the operations of how your company works, and of course the products and value that you can deliver. So it's from this foundation that Power Automate has this vision, that people should only have to focus on tasks where they can bring unique human value. And I don't know about you, but that to me, it's a nice statement, great statement. But, it's a bit blue sky. What does it actually mean? And what I want to do over the next period of time that I have with you on this video is to bring that blue sky vision down to a sea-level reality. I'm going to do that by using an example. So let's say a contractor finishes a project and would like her invoice paying. Sends the invoice by email to a shared mailbox. This mailbox is monitored by a team. They check the incoming mail, read the invoice and determine where to send it for approval. They send that to the manager. The manager then gets that email and checks the details, replies to the email or forwards it to finance. Finance then get that email and they input the data into a legacy system. And then they need to do a couple of other little tasks as well. And then the team replies to a contractor with the internal reference number. This may seem like a familiar process to you. It's a very ubiquitous type of business process, a shared mailbox, some human action as a result of that, and then some data input as a result of that shared mailbox. Elapsed time, 12 hours from when a contractor sends the email to the manager getting it, and then from manager approving, it can take 24 hours for that data to be data input. Bringing this back to the unique human value question. Where is the unique human value in this business process? Where would it be? For me, the unique human value is there right in the middle. It is the manager's value judgment, the human judgment of whether the contractor, whether their work is up to scratch and whether it meets the agreement that is made between the manager and the contractor. Everything else, either side, checking your email, extracting from PDF, finding the right person to email it to, data input in the legacy application, replying to email, like this can and should be automated. Let's look at it with Power Automate in the picture. Contractor finishes a project, would like invoice paid as normal. Power Automate is checking the shared mailbox for invoices. AI is used to extract the invoice data, and they post a message to the team leader in Teams. Manager looks at the invoice information that was extracted by the AI model. Then they approve it using a button in Teams, and then Power Automate takes over again and uses and mimics the actions of a human to enter the data into a legacy application, also known as robotic process automation. They do some other things, convert to Euro and log in Excel. And then Power Automate replies to the contractor with the internal reference number. We've gone from 12 hours to 45 seconds, and we've gone from 24 hours to less than 5 minutes. That could be less than 5 minutes depending on the cycle of the bot. And this highlights one of the big benefits of automation. Not only are fewer humans involved in terms of their time, but also the time of execution of the business process is greatly improved. There's also a cost benefit. Invoice processing involving humans, just rough back of the napkin calculations, 73,000 a year. With AI bots, this is capacity for 2,500 pages of invoices a month, is at 36,000 a year. 24/7 bots, 24/7 robots, AI to do the data extraction, and a flow that is licensed for the whole organization to use. Comes out at 36,000 a year. So that's the second compelling use case. First compelling benefit is time. Second is cost. Let's have a look at some other use cases that are common. Common across the business verticals. So these types of things are ubiquitous in all organizations. There are, of course, solutions that are relevant just for particular industries, but I won't cover those in here. I'll just give you the broad strokes of some of these ones. So from this list here, automated test plans. I won't go through each of these. You can pause the video and look at these if you like, or reach out to me if something here resonates. You'd like to know more, do reach out. I'm happy to explain and go through that. Automated test plans is an interesting one. So let's look at another example relating to IT that highlights another benefit of automation. There's this thing that large organizations often do. I've got quite a lot of large law firm clients, and they will have someone on their network administration team or their systems administration team that will log in every day and run through a checklist. And let's just estimate $60 it costs, 360 days a year, factoring overtime, that kind of thing. 21,000 a year, you can get a bot to do it for less than 4,000 a year. So there's a cost benefit there. But it highlights something else. The human, when they do this checklist in the morning, they've got other stuff to do, right? They've got other jobs to do. They've got to go and do the rest of their work. This unattended bot can just do it every hour. So you've got this frequency benefit. So you can do it more often with a robot doing the work. Not only that, you could do it 24/7, you could do it 3 in the morning and 3 p.m. in the afternoon, you could do it whenever you like. So 24/7 frequency improvement. But there's also another improvement around quality. Let's say when Bob, the sysadmin, logs in, they start doing their checklist and then they get a Teams message from a colleague, something urgent is going on, that checklist is interrupted. It's not executed in the same way every single time that Bob runs it. When Mary runs it, she runs it in a different way to what Bob does. So that it's not the same process every single time, but whereas with a robot, it will be exactly the same steps. And you can capture metrics. So you can capture metrics around and see when the systems are degrading in performance, because you can trust the metrics that the bot is doing, because you've got confidence in that the bot is doing it the same way every single time. So there's a quality of a certainty of output benefit by automating it. There's some of the business benefits and some of the use cases of automation. Let's just put Microsoft Power Automate in context where it is in the actual market. You may be familiar with some of these. Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, UiPath, these are very common in the Australian market. Pegasystems getting a bit of a note here as well. Also products that isn't listed here, but I forget what it's called. Nintex is popular here. They don't have much of an RPA capability, but you get the idea that there's where does Microsoft fit in this market? Well, this is the Forrester Wave report, and they analysed 25 criteria for the big vendors, and they help enterprise architects select the right one for their business. This was Q1 2021. The size of the dot is the market presence. The further to the right, the stronger strategy. The higher up, the current offering, the strength of the current offering. So you can see that Microsoft here is in the leaders area, the leaders wave. Similarly, this is the Gartner Magic Quadrant just released in July. You can see that Microsoft is in the leaders quadrant with only 3 others, the 3 biggest in the market. And I think that for Microsoft to get here within the 2 years that they haven't been in this report long, to get here in the leaders quadrant in that short period of time shows where the momentum is going with Microsoft. So for me, if you are one of those RPA vendors watching RPA developers that's watching that is using a solution already, it is due diligence. It is a due diligence exercise to see what Microsoft are doing in this space. So let's talk actually about Microsoft Power Automate now. Let's talk about the actual product. First of all, let's just put where Microsoft Power Automate sits. It sits in the Power Platform, and Power Platform is this suite of products. Power BI, so business analytics and reporting from disparate data sources, bring them in and analyze the data, crunch the data, graphic reports, dashboards, that kind of thing. Power BI is part of Power Platform. Power Apps, rapid application development, up to 70% cheaper and faster to build a Power App than with traditional application development methods. Power Automate sits here in Power, and Power Apps is part of Power Platform. Power Automate is obviously part of Power Platform, and Power Virtual Agents, which is intelligent chatbots. Underpinning these, you have data connectors and AI Builder, and this concept of a dataverse, which is a database in the cloud, sort of custom business entities. Essentially, if you get your dataverse right, you get your entity structure right, then things like building a Power App becomes a 3 or 4 click exercise. So these are individual world-class products within themselves, and you'll see that when we talk about Power Automate. But it's important to put them into context, because when they're together, you can have a Power BI report that triggers an automation based on a data alert. You can have buttons inside Power Apps or triggers inside Power Apps that would initiate a Power Automate workflow. Or you can have a chat bot that interacts with a human, and then at a certain point in the chat, you can initiate a Power Automate to go and do work that the human wants done. So individual, valuable, better together. Over 350,000 people businesses use Power Automate every month, and this is getting larger and larger. This was May 2020. I don't know what the numbers are for 2021, but they will certainly be more than this. So let's have a look at Power Automate. Let's look at what it actually is. So first of all, there's a foundation that is built on the cloud. So it is a cloud-delivered product. Having said that, if you need to connect to on-premise data or on-premise systems, that is possible. But the majority of everything is in the cloud. So all of the logging, all of the governance controls are all inside a cloud platform. Then you have governance as a separate area, governance, data loss prevention, integration with Azure Active Directory to cover things like least privilege and that kind of thing, all part of the platform. In fact, in the comments of this video, you will find a link to the Power Platform admin guide. So if governance is your jam, highly recommend reading that. You'll get a lot out of what is possible from Power Automate and governance. Pricing is compelling. When we've done comparison between Power Automate and some of the other vendors in the space, it often 50% cheaper than current in-place solutions. Highly recommend reaching out to me to talk about pricing. And then there's a strong ecosystem. So the ecosystem itself, partners like ourselves, we can offer services and training around Power Automate, and also there are certifications out there and a full community built up and building up around Power Automate. So from these foundations arise these five capabilities. First of all, we have Cloud Flows. And Cloud Flows is API to API integration. Now, if you're not sure what an API is, it stands for Application Programming Interface, and it's how developers interact with a program. So what this means is that within a Cloud Flow, if there is a connector available, and there are now over 500 connectors available on Power Automate, then you've got essentially the same capability as what a developer has to interact with that particular program. And it doesn't need a PC, so you can build Cloud Flows and they just run on the platform with no PC required. Sometimes applications, though, they don't have APIs, or more accurately, the APIs are really hard to work with, and in that case, you'd use a desktop flow. And a desktop flow, it's a really cool piece of technology that mimics the actions of a human being. So this is a desktop application where you build these flows, and they mimic the actions of a human, the points and clicks of what a human would be doing. This needs a PC. These flows need to execute on a PC. Just as you would give a PC to a human, you give a PC to what's known as a bot. And then there's AI Builder. AI Builder, there is a suite of pre-built models and some custom models, and this is essentially AI for everybody, making it accessible without needing a development background or data scientist background. The first three, Cloud Flows, Desktop Flows, AI Builder, allow you to bring some really good automations. But how do you know the business process start state? How do you know where to get started? And Process Advisor allows you to do this. You can analyze the steps in a process, you record someone doing the process. Then you collaborate with the business users to record these steps. finding the bottlenecks and be able to get a good start point. And of course, the fact that it has this seamless integration with the Power Platform, as I mentioned a couple of slides ago, this means that it's very, very powerful. You can reach out to virtual agents and Power BI and Power Apps and that kind of thing. And of course, Microsoft Office 365 is all surfaced inside Power Automate as well. So I do want to go a little bit deeper into each of those things. I bet you really want to have a look at the actual products themselves, and I'm going to do that. But we are looking just under the hood. And I can guarantee that in these next 10 minutes, or 5 or 10 minutes that I go through the product, you're going to be left unsatisfied potentially. Now we have an event called RPA in a Day. If you want to know a lot more about this and work out how to build the workflow that you're about to watch, then I highly recommend that you join us. It's 7 hours of your time. You'll get to play hands-on with RPA in a Day. I will note though that it is one person per company per workshop. These are always oversubscribed. And not all companies qualify. So unfortunately, if you're a Microsoft partner or a big consultancy that has a Microsoft arm, like KPMG or EY or any of those sort of big consultancies that has a Microsoft capability, then this isn't for you. This is for smaller companies and non-Microsoft partners. It's for Microsoft clients. So, as I say, I'm going to go through the under the hood, but you may be left wanting, and if so, then RPA in a Day is for you. So, just mapping back to that original process. When I talked to those capabilities, Process Advisor we would use to map out the process. Cloud Flows would do the checking of the mailbox and posting in Teams. AI Builder would have extracted the data that is required for the manager. And we'd use Desktop Flows to automate Power Automate Desktop to do the legacy application data input. So let's have a look. Process Advisor. So again, Process Advisor where you record the process in play. You can record it or you can collaborate with your business colleagues to do the recording. There's then a central way of analysing the recordings and looking at reports that show what happened for that business process. So here is the user interface. I'm going to click on New Recording. So I've created a process for recording called Contoso Invoice Processing. And what happens is you'll see a recorder pops up on the desktop. And this recorder is for you to record yourself doing the actual process. I'll hit record and just do something over here so you can see that gets recorded in the recorder at the side. But I'm just going to hover over some of the UI elements here. You can see that as I'm moving the mouse around, a box is appearing over the different elements that are capturable. So you need to train users to make sure they're not going too fast and that they're capturing the right elements. But as soon as you've done that, then it's really easy to capture these automation steps. So you would get the business users, or you might record yourself doing the business process. And then once you finish that, you send that up to the cloud, and you then go through a step of grouping points and clicks together into meaningful activities, and you end up with something that looks like this, which is a flow, a workflow diagram of that particular business process. So it says here that there were 6 recordings. Here's some stats on those 6 recordings. Six started, and then they all went to open the app, but then 3 of them went to open an invoice attachment, 1 of them went to open a document, and 2 of them went straight to create new invoice. Maybe they had paper documents or something like that. But you get an idea of the exceptions that are happening in this workflow, and also you get to see where the potential parts are that need automating. Really cool stuff. This product was released back in May, I believe. It came out of preview in May. When it came out of preview, 2 new capabilities were announced. Application Insights and Automate Activities. Application Insights give you which are the most common applications used in this business process. So that gives you the capability to then go and see if there are connectors available for those applications, and if not, build them. Automate Activities is really exciting because it's showing a sneak peek into the roadmap. Automate Activities, at the click of a button, create a draft flow based on the analysis. pretty cool. But what's coming in later in the year, or early next year for Process Advisor, is the ability for business units to suggest automations for their units and then have some return on investment calculation process to then go through and select the right candidates. This is what's known as enabling hyper automation, being able to identify and have a process for automation, which is super exciting. I think Process Advisor's got a really bright future ahead of it. So that's Process Advisor. Let's look at cloud flows. Over 500 cloud connectors nowadays, and some of those are what's known as so vendors create them themselves, like Google created ones for Drive and things like that. Dropbox created them for Dropbox, and over 500. But there's also this thing called the Independent Publisher Program, which was launched a few weeks ago, and that means that anyone in the Power Automate community can create a connector for any cloud service and then have that vetted by Microsoft, and then it's released to the community. So you'll see a big acceleration in the number of connectors available over the coming months. And each connector has two things. It has a trigger and some actions. It has triggers and actions. Triggers, example of that in what we're doing is when a new email arrives in Outlook. So what a trigger does, it means that you can start an automation based on that trigger. So in our example, when a new email arrives, that's when the automation is going to start. And then you have actions, things that you can do using that connector. So in our example, it's posting a message to Teams. So let's have a look at what this looks like. This is the homepage for Cloud Flows. We're going to go and just have a very quick look at these are different templates. So there's thousands of templates available that you can just have a look at and play with. Connectors, these are all the connectors that are available for Power Automate. This video is about a month old, so this screen is different even now. There's more. Here's an example of a trigger. So this is Microsoft To Do app. When a new to do is created in a specific folder, then you can trigger an automation based on that. And these are all the different templates available for Microsoft To Do. If we have a look at our example flow here, we will see that when a new email arrives, that's what starts this automation off. And then for each attachment, we're going to send it off to AI Builder. I'm going to send the attachment off to AI Builder, and then we're going to post a choice of options in Teams to the user, and then based on their response, we're going to do various things. So you can see the user interface is really quite easy to follow along there. That's Cloud Flows. AI Builder, pre-built models, train custom models, and it really is AI without developers. The user interface is really simple, and the way that we train and build models, it's wizard, in plain English, it's really, really good stuff. These are an example of the models. So across the top here, these are the ones that you can customize. During our workshop, we build a form processing model. Here's an example of entity extraction, where you can send it text and it will extract the entities from it. Here's all the ones that you can use straight out of the box. A favorite is sentiment analysis. We've talked to quite a lot of local government authorities, and their mailboxes it's staggering the amount of email that comes in for those. And being able to classify them on sentiment is a really good way of prioritizing what needs to be looked at and what doesn't need to be looked at. So sentiment analysis is built straight out of the box, really easy to use in a workflow. And that's AI Builder. Let's look at desktop flows. So desktop flows is what's known as robotic process automation. So robotic, mimic like a human, and process automation is with points and clicks. The user interface is very intuitive, and of course you need a PC to run these flows. But let's have a look at the user interface. So this is Power Automate Desktop. You see it is a desktop application, and we're going to have a look at these are all the different things that you can do in Power Automate. All the different actions that are available, all the different human actions you can automate. Working with files and folders, that kind of thing. You can always search for actions as well. Now this here is the main window, the main main flow of what's going to be executed. And then you can split into subflows, which if you're a professional developer, this is really useful for building modularized code that you can call from within the main window. It has a recorder as well, so that recorder you saw for Process Advisor, you can record your actions, and then you've got your bot drafted, and then you just tweak, edit the recorded actions. And here you can see it mimicking the actions of a human. Here it's pointing, clicking, entering the data, doing all of that good stuff. Now it's going to open up a web page and go and do some stuff on a website. And then once it's done that stuff on a website, you see in the background there telling us what it's doing. And then it'll write to Excel, so you'll see Excel fire up. So here's the Excel piece. There's Excel. Oh, I minimized it. You get the idea. And so that's it. That's all the demo we're going to go through. But what I think differentiates Power Automate than all the other platforms is that you bridge the gap between these modern systems with APIs using cloud flows that execute without needing a PC. They just run at planet scale. They run with resilience without any other resources. And then the bit that, like, if you have a bit in an application that doesn't have an API call, or if you're integrating one part of the process with a legacy application that has no APIs, like our Contoso app, then you reach out for just that bit. So only that bit of the process that needs robotic process automation do you use a robot for, which is a differentiator. A lot of the other products need the bot to execute on a machine. So to scale, you need more machines, whereas this is very different. So that's the process. Let's have a look at the process now in its entirety. So first of all, you're going to send a new message. And now we build this in RPA in a day. So if you're interested in building this, learning how to do this, you can build this from Process Advisor to analyze the process all the way through. We build this in the demo, in the workshop. Over 3 labs, 3 hours, 4 hours of labs, you would have built this. So anyway, so we'd have used Process Advisor to map out the process. We would have then, now cloud flows kick in. Cloud flows are watching the mailbox. They're watching the mailbox, and then once that mail arrives, it's then going to post a message in Teams as a bot. So Flow sent this card, and you'll see here that the invoice data has been extracted. So the human's going to say, yes, I approve that. And this data here that we're seeing in here has been extracted using an AI builder model. We build this AI builder model in the workshop as well, which is really cool. A custom model, we train it, do all that stuff and publish it. And now what we can do is we can see that desktop flows is going to kick in and automate, mimic the actions of a human being. So it's using the data that we're passing data from the cloud to the desktop, and that's what's driving the data input here. So that's the entire process. So that's Power Automate, a quick look under the hood of Power Automate. And each of these things, so Cloudflow is also known as digital process automation or integration platform as a service. You have desktop flows, robotic process automation, AI, process mining, all of that stuff, integration. These are all industries within themselves. When you have them all combined together in a seamless way that can talk to each other, this for me is intelligent automation. And for me, Microsoft is the only platform that does this in a coherent, cost-effective, and easy to use way that suits both citizen developer modes of operation and pro developer with the extensibility of code and the governance that is required for that, for both models. So hopefully I have covered what I set out to do in this short video. This is my promise to you. Hopefully I've delivered on that promise. If not, do reach out and let me know. If I have, do reach out and let me know. It'd be great to hear from you. I mentioned it earlier, RPA in a day. If you do want to learn more, we ask our attendees to rate themselves before the workshop on a scale of 1 to 10. How much do you know Power Automate? I reckon that in this presentation today, I've got you to a 1 or a 2 maybe, 1 or a 2. So we asked them before and after, and you can see there's, on average, it's a 3.5 jump in scores. So I would love to see you at the workshop if you want to know more. By far, this is the best way of doing it. Invest a day of your time. We'll look after you and get you the knowledge that you need on Power Automate, even as a due diligence exercise. If nothing else, this should be part of your due diligence, your personal growth of knowing what's happening in the marketplace. Thank you for watching. It's been great having you watch this video, and it's been great to put this content together for you. Simon Sinek, I read his book years ago, Start With Why, and oops, there we go. Start With Why, and I want to explain what my why is for doing what I do. I think that this technology can enable a 3-day week. It's really cool technology. Come on RPA in a day and find out how cool it is. I get to work with great people. The fact that you've spent the last 30 minutes or so watching this video shows that you are aligned to this vision somehow. And I get to work with people like you and great people in the industry. And I also think it's this thing of a more human workplace. You know, bots doing the work that can be done by robots is our duty. What I mean by a more human workplace. So this data comes from Coursera, which is an online training platform. Over 72 million users. And this was part of the Future of Jobs report by the World Economic Forum released in October 2020. So 2019, these were the topics, the most in-focus skills of those in employment. What do people want to learn in 2019? These were the things. So Python programming, regression, deep learning, supply chain, statistics, all noble things, absolutely noble things. And I don't want to take away from those things. They are absolutely noble things to be doing. However, in 2020, that crazy year of 2020, these things were the most in-focus skills. Writing, mindfulness, meditation, gratitude, kindness. I think people want to work in places like this. And I think that by removing this mundane, repetitive work, can people focus on being more human. People should only have to focus on tasks where they can bring unique human value of connecting and kindness and gratitude and all of that stuff. Human potential is limitless and time is not. So let's get some time back in all of our lives. Thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you. If you would like to chat or you've got any questions, this QR code will take you directly to my calendar. You can book in 25 minutes. Love to chat to you and find out what's going on. It has been a pleasure talking to you, and I hope to hear from you soon. Please do connect me on LinkedIn, and see you around. Thank you.